Built-in kitchens made in Germany, a success story that continues today. 1.3 million kitchens leave here for destinations around the world each year. From niche existence to the focal point of domestic life.
The kitchen has taken on a new role compared to way back when it was just a separate room.
The choice of kitchen, a lifetime decision, and a question of money. Mass-produced from the assembly line or custom-made from the workshop. The kitchen, between workspace and status symbol.
You want to be able to tell that it's wood when you feel it. That's very much in the premium segment, 6 figures of course.
Trees are turned into chipboards, the building blocks of kitchen cabinets. Whether handcrafted or mass-produced, only during installation will it become apparent if the jigsaw puzzle fits together perfectly.
Whatever doesn't fit is made to fit.
It's often a matter of millimeters.
Beverstedt, near Bremerhaven. The kitchen is arriving today, one of 5,700 that are delivered and installed each day somewhere in Germany. A routine job for the kitchen installers, but a very special day for the customer. The old kitchen has already been removed. The installers immediately get started. Before they begin with the assembly, the kitchen installers check the plan to see where the new cabinets should go later on. Like all modern custom-fitted kitchens, this one also consists of several modules, floor standing and wall-mounted units, plus sink, appliances, skirts, or plinths. And, as the connecting element, the countertop. Great care is required when carrying in the various components. Even the professionals can accidentally nick or drop things at times.
Can't be avoided, unfortunately. We're all human. Everyone makes a mistake. And drops something from time to time. It shouldn't happen, of course.
To ensure that all the floor units are the same height later on, the kitchen installers attach height-adjustable feet. The kitchen consists of 2 rows of units and goes around a corner, a so-called L-shaped kitchen. The longer row begins with a tall pantry cabinet. It will be fitted next to an existing refrigerator, the only item left over from the old kitchen. After 1 hour, the room is already looking like a kitchen. But then...
It'll be a bit loud now. But that's normal.
As soon as the units are in place, the kitchen installers remove the drawers and doors again. In order to align and connect them, they need access to the side panels.
You often think it isn't that much work, but it turns out to be more than you originally imagined.
The actual assembly begins now. In fact, production of the kitchen began months earlier. A forest near Nuremberg. The raw material used to make kitchen cabinets has been growing here for centuries. Felling the trees is the job of this 4-wheeled monster. The 250 horsepower giant cuts up the pines and spruces in a matter of minutes. First, the harvester grasps the tree with its felling head. It then cuts the stem with its hydraulically driven chainsaw and brings it down. It takes skill on the part of the operator, because he must avoid damaging any other trees during felling. The saw operates at 16,000 revolutions per minute. Feed rollers in the harvester head drag the trunk past 5 blades. They remove bark and branches. The rollers stop every 8 meters and the trunk is sawn through. The machine is 8 meters long and 3 meters wide. It weighs as much as 15 compact cars. The chains ensure that its enormous weight is more evenly distributed, thereby protecting the delicate forest floor. The trees the foresters select for felling are always those growing close to others and thus robbing them of light and nutrients. Thinning out the trees is one of the routine tasks in the forest. The branches of the felled trees are left in the forest. They serve to fertilize the soil.
Most of the nutrients are in the needles and beneath the bark. These branches are relatively thin, so the proportion of bark is very high. So we leave them in the forest to minimize the quantity of nutrients removed by the timber harvesting.
After felling, the next monster goes into action. This all-terrain vehicle, the forwarder, collects and sorts the trunks according to timber type. Around 2/3 of each tree go to sawmills. They process the lower sections of trunk into boards and beams. All of the trunks are first brought to collection points and stacked into log piles. The upper third of the trunk is unsuitable for construction lumber. It ends up in paper mills or particle board factories.
The diameter decreases significantly the higher the tree. The wood there is generally fairly bent and very knotty. It's still healthy wood, though. So although too bent for lumber, it's perfect for making particle board.
But not all of the straight and thicker trunks are suitable for making lumber. Like this one, that's hollowed out due to heart rot. It's still usable though.
The outside is healthy, so it's fine for particle board.
Particle board, the starting material for most fitted kitchen units. Europe's largest particle board mill is in Neumarkt, in the Upper Palatinate. The plant covers an area the size of 32 soccer pitches. 900,000 cubic meters of particle board are made here each year. That's roughly 86,000 container loads. Up to 180 trucks a day supply the mill with fresh timber. Tree trunks that don't make the grade for the sawmill end up on this conveyor belt. They're primarily conifers, such as pine and spruce. From here, the trunks enter the drum chipper. The machine cuts them up into 3-centimeter long wood chips in a matter of seconds. The shredding takes place inside this machine. These massive steel blades cut the logs into small pieces. A chain conveyor system transports the chips to the storage silos. Each silo contains chips of a certain size. Later on, some of the wood chips have to be cut up even smaller. This is done by knife ring flakers that work like enormous coffee grinders. Inside is a rotating ring fitted with blades. It chops the wood up to the desired size. A single knife ring weighs 300 kilograms. However, most of the wood is delivered in the form of chips or sawdust. It comes from wood processing plants, where it's a waste product from the manufacture of boards. Chipped recycled wood from old furniture also ends up here. Up to 3,600 tons of wood in different chip sizes arrives here each day. It's stored in the silos before being processed into particle board. The mixture first enters one of the 4 rotary drum dryers. Heating coils heat the rotating chips to 180 degrees Celsius. This drives out the moisture. A single drum can evaporate off 15 tons of water an hour. At the end of the process, the moisture content of the chips is under 2%. Vibrating and oscillating screens then separate them according to size. Undesired elements, such as metal or stones, are trapped and rejected in the process. The wood chips are then stored in dry silos like these until needed. Then they head to the factory. This 130-meter-long machine churns out particle boards non-stop, up to 1,200 cubic meters a day in this plant alone. To create a solid board from the loose chips, each grade of chip is first treated in a so-called blender. Inside it, nozzles spray the chips with a binder consisting of resin, hardener, and wax. A closed conveyor belt system then transports the chips to these mat-forming machines. They evenly distribute the resin-coated particles on a conveyor belt. Each particle board is constructed like a sandwich. The top and bottom are made of fine layers with coarser ones in between. Here, the lower face is formed from fine particles. Coarser flakes are placed on top. The composition determines the later pliability and load-bearing capacity of the board. The process is reminiscent of how layered sheets of dough are made in an industrial bakery. Finally, another layer of fine particles forms the outer face. The sheet panel is now pre-compressed and densified by rollers. This is followed by the main pressing process. The finished sheet is fed by conveyor through several rollers, where it's subjected to pressure and heat. The panel is compressed to the desired board thickness at a pressure of 4.5 tons per square meter and temperatures of up to 250 degrees Celsius. The resin and wax-coated particles fuse together to form a continuous board in the process. At the end of the machine, it's then cut into individual 6-meter-long boards by an automatic inline saw. The particle board's temperature is still up to 180 degrees Celsius. To cool them down, they're placed in the so-called cooling wheel. They spend around 45 minutes here. As soon as the board is in the slot, the cooling wheel rotates one section and accepts the next board. The boards have cooled down once they've passed through all 4 wheels. The advantage compared to solid wood, particle boards can be manufactured in all sizes. Thanks to the even distribution of the particles, they remain dimensionally stable and are uniformly hard. These properties make them the ideal material for making furniture. Here, some of the boards are coated with melamine-impregnated decorative paper. The factory processes around 9,000 tons of it a year. The decorative paper is available in a variety of designs. Wood-like finish, such as walnut or beech, or individual colors. There are even marble and concrete-like particle board finishes available. This machine first places the lower sheet in position. It removes a sheet from the pile using vacuum suction cups. A conveyor system simultaneously delivers the particle board. A vacuum transfer system places it precisely on top of the decorative film. Then the upper layer is placed on top. Now the board and plastic layer have to be firmly bonded together. That takes place in this press. It works like an oversized iron. Under high pressure and a temperature of 180 degrees, the resin in the decorative paper bonds with the particle board. After 30 seconds, the laminate is hard. Pressure plates can even create a textured surface. Each laminate is checked for cracks or unevenness. Then it heads off to the shipping department. High-quality particle boards form the basis of many kitchen units. Modern fitted or built-in kitchens would be unimaginable without particle boards. Löhne in Westphalia, head office of the company WELT, one of the largest kitchen manufacturers in Germany. Over 1,800 raw particle boards arrive by truck each day. Each weighs approximately 120 kilograms. The boards are first brought into the warehouse. For its kitchens, the company requires particle boards with different finishes and thicknesses. They're used to make the elements for the kitchen units. This machine automatically cuts a so-called standard blank from the large format boards. This creates the basic shape of the later element. Whether for a shelf insert, fixed shelf, or side panel, the dimensions of each finished element are stored in the automatic saw unit. The #1 priority when cutting, as little offcut as possible. In this production line, the cut edges are then remilled and sealed with the appropriate decorative trim. The machine has the edge material that matches the design of the surface for every component. First, it heats up the milled edges. Then, a film of adhesive is applied. Finally, the machine presses the decorative strip onto the edge. The plastic prevents moisture from penetrating the wood. Afterwards, protruding edge material is milled flush. Next stop is the so-called through-feed drilling machine. Here, a machine drills holes in the boards. At the moment, elements for sink cabinets are being processed. A computer program tells the machine where and how deep to drill. Adhesive is then injected into the holes. Finally, wooden dowels are driven in. All of the parts are mass-produced in the same colors and sizes. They're bundled on pallets and packed for transport. Other components for kitchen units are made in a similar fashion in parallel. Side panels, base panels, skirts, plinths, and much more. An automated transport system ensures the warehouse is constantly resupplied with components. As soon as a rack space is empty, it goes into action. It uses sensors to navigate and can even stack the goods autonomously. 1,000 elements enter and leave the warehouse each day. Forstern, near Munich. In this carpenter's workshop, they create entire kitchens, all handcrafted. They only build to order. It can take up to a year for the customer's wishes and initial ideas to become a workable construction plan. It takes architects, room planners, carpenters, and kitchen installers all working as a team. All of the cabinets are made from wood. A hand-built kitchen generally costs between 80,000 and 200,000 euros. But the sky's the limit. Everything here is made to measure. In contrast with the, at times, complicated design phase, production is proceeding relatively quickly. It takes 2 to 3 months, depending on the project. In this newly constructed Munich penthouse, the craftsmen have spent the last 3 weeks installing a luxury kitchen. It's due to be completed in a few days. This is how the room is supposed to look afterwards. The electrical appliances and building services will be hidden in a cube made from walnut. The row of cabinets is in part made from solid wood. In addition to the prestigious main kitchen, there's a hidden kitchenette where things can look a bit disorderly now and again. A kitchen that integrates seamlessly with the living quarters. Restrained and elegant. This project is costing the customer a 6-figure sum. Martin Vopp is the project manager. Today, he wants to check if his design is being realized according to plan. Every unit is tailor-made and thus a one-of-a-kind. The countertop is made of natural stone. It folds down over the edge and merges with the front. The stove fittings are embedded into the stone. A novel downdraft extraction system ensures that cooking fumes are sucked away directly beside the stove.
The fumes are channeled down behind the unit where they pass through an activated charcoal filter, so I'm not standing in the cooking fumes, there's no ugly hood above my head, and the fumes are extracted directly next to the pot.
The understated precious wood fronts conceal a few small refinements. Here, for instance, is an electrical mechanism that opens and closes the flap. A gentle push is all it takes to activate it.
That's just a sensor which is connected to the motor inside. When you press it, this here opens and closes.
The heart of the open kitchen is the rectangular room divider in the center. It's covered with slatted panels made of walnut. There are risks with custom-made elements, however. Even the smallest of errors during measurement or inaccuracies during manufacturing can result in the many elements not fitting together properly. The kitchen installers have been struggling to attach the wooden panel to the wall for over half an hour, so far without success.
It's not all the way down. It's partially engaged, but it's not sliding down the last 4 to 5 millimeters.
There's something not quite right with this element. The kitchen installers have to make adjustments. Their plan: to insert a spacer beneath the mounting rail. They quickly repurpose a strip of expensive rosewood veneer.
It needs to be half a millimeter further out so that the rails slide into the tracks more easily.
The next attempt. The panel clips easily onto the upper rail, but the middle one is still not cooperating. A second spacer should solve the problem. The kitchen installers clamp it between the wall and the panel. And sure enough, this does the trick.
We push this out by a millimeter, and that's what's made the difference. It's often a matter of millimeters.
The kitchen installers now install the fronts. They're veneered with walnut on one side. It's been applied in such a way that the natural grain of the wood continues unbroken across the units and is not interrupted by any seams. The result is a harmonious, uniform appearance. The fronts in the cooking area are finished with a special plastic. It should prevent fingerprints from being visible. Elements subject to heavy use, like drawers, are made from solid wood. Not even the handles are off the shelf. They're made of machined black steel.
The handles are specially manufactured for us by an ornamental iron craftsman. Each item is a one-off and custom-made according to our design specification.
The kitchen installers have 3 days to finish the job. Back in Beverstedt, near Bremerhaven. Here, the two kitchen installers have just 10 hours to install a new built-in kitchen. It's about to get dusty. They need to make a cutout at the back of the sink unit for the plumbing. When working with the jigsaw, kitchen installer Florian Köster has to get it right the first time.
You make mistakes sometimes, cutting in the wrong place or some splinters in a place where you can see it.
But nothing's damaged here, and the plumbing isn't in the way anymore. Meanwhile, his colleague Niels Gätjen is working on the sink. It needs holes too, for the fittings and drain. With natural stone sinks, the holes are knocked out. With artificial stone, they're cut out.
You can see how easily it splinters, and if you were to hit it with a hammer, there's a good chance the whole sink would break.
So that the countertop lies flat, the kitchen installers carefully adjust all of the base units to make them perfectly level. Floors are often uneven, especially in old buildings. The kitchen installer can compensate for this using the height-adjustable feet. Then he connects all the base units together. Niels Gätjen is dealing with the drainage system for the sink, a weak spot that's prone to leakage. Here, the kitchen installer swears by plastic.
When you drain potatoes, for example, the water is boiling hot. It's good to use plastic in the kitchen because it's far less susceptible to expansion than metal.
Now, the ideal position for the sink has to be decided. The kitchen installers need the exact measurements in order to cut the required hole in the countertop. The customer must now make an irrevocable decision.
In the middle of the cabinet or shifted further over here. Bear in mind that the stove is situated in this unit here.
Yes, exactly.
And I don't know whether you want a small surface here. That wouldn't be a bad idea.
That would be good. Yes.
So about where it is at the moment.
Yes.
I'd leave it here. That way you can still get at the faucet if it needs replacing.
Okay.
Up next, the countertop. As with many fitted kitchens, it's made from laminated particle board. It's 4 centimeters thick.
You only get one attempt. So you have to get it right.
Because the countertop will go around a corner, it consists of 2 sections. So that no water can later permeate the cut edge, the kitchen installer smooths it and seals it with silicone. Doing so prevents the countertop from swelling. Now, they'll see if everything fits as the customer ordered.
It fits. Great. That's how it should be.
But only at first glance, unfortunately. There's a gap between the wall and countertop.
Wasn't measured quite right. But whatever doesn't fit is made to fit.
They simply shift the entire cabinet row a bit to the right.
Yep, it fits. It's fine like that.
A splash guard made from white glass that matches the new kitchen units is attached to the wall where the sink will later be. Choosing a new kitchen, always a far-reaching decision. It has to be functional, robust, and look good. And ideally, you should be able to cook in it too. Showroom kitchens are just there to give you ideas. The dream kitchen is designed on a computer. Given the necessary room dimensions, every kitchen can first be pieced together virtually.
Our planning software allows you to move units around. We can swap out cabinets, we can change the color, and the end result is a layout and price that the customer can work with.
A kitchen is something very dear to many people. On average, each German purchases a new one every 15 years and spends 6,700 euros on it. The kitchen is almost always made in Germany. Nowadays, open-plan kitchens are the norm for new buildings.
The kitchen is open to the dining room and living room. So the kitchen takes on a whole new significance compared to way back when it was just a separate room.
Melle in Lower Saxony. This is where kitchen manufacturer Nolte has its cabinet factory. Around 850 fitted kitchens are produced here each day. From here, they ship to over 60 countries around the world. The production process is largely automated. This is the domain of computers and robots. The front panels are one of the few elements beside electrical appliances that are bought in. The manufacturer offers 174 decorative finishes from all over Europe. As soon as the fronts for an ordered kitchen arrive, construction can begin. This picking cart locates the matching fronts for every ordered kitchen. It moves around completely autonomously by way of a laser-guided navigation system. The picker just needs to follow behind. The system indicates where he needs to pick using a laser. Each picker covers around 10 kilometers a day. The machine doesn't assist the human. The human is the machine's gopher. Machines are responsible for assembling the fronts too. These here will become cabinet doors. First, a scanner reads the drilling code on the label. This tells the system the dimensions to which the front has to be processed. First, holes are drilled. Then, recesses for the hinges. In the next step, the machine installs the hinges. Doors in a single round trip, and each one with individual measurements. Here, the front panels for drawers are drilled and temporarily stored. From the scanned-in barcode, the system knows which order each front is for and calculates the optimal storage location. The fronts only remain there until their drawer carcass is built, usually less than an hour. Carcasses for base units are being built on these production lines. They all consist of the same individual parts and differ only in terms of color and size, sides, bottom, crossbars, and rails for future drawers. Side and bottom panels are pre-drilled and processed on parallel lines. Here, the side panels are fitted with rails for the drawers. All of the parallel production lines then merge together. Side panels, crossbars, and bottom panels are made into a complete carcass. Everything is timed so that each part is at the right spot at the right time. Customized mass production. From now on, the carcass is considered a new unit and is therefore assigned a shipping label. Then the back panel is fitted. This job is performed by hand for a change. But the next step is once again automated. This machine securely attaches the back panel to the carcass. All that's missing are the drawers. They're made here. As with the cabinets, each is custom built and still mass-produced. A bottom made from particle board forms the basis of each one. A machine first pre-drills the holes. Then metal sides are fitted to the bottom panel, a job performed by this two-armed robot. Finally, the back panel is attached to the drawer. At the same time, the matching fronts travel from their interim storage location to the production line as if by magic. They even use an elevator. Then, a robot grabs the panels and places them in front of the drawers, one after the other. The length and finish of the fronts vary constantly, depending on what the customer ordered. In this way, every drawer is individually designed. The drawers with the narrow fronts are now finished. They disappear for the time being. Drawers with large fronts, on the other hand, need some manual intervention. Here too, some of the drawers are fitted with rails, side panels, or glass inserts, always as ordered by the customer. All work steps are precisely timed, like a Swiss watch. Now it's time for the so-called marriage. Every drawer finds its matching base unit. For once, the robots are not involved. 7,400 cabinets are built in this factory each day. While base units, wall units, side cupboards, and other units are made here too. Despite technical advances, the principle of the fitted kitchen, consisting of interconnected functional units, has remained almost unchanged since the mid-1920s, an unparalleled success story. Finally, all the kitchen units are packaged. Many have a long journey ahead of them. The manufacturer ships to over 60 countries around the world. Back in Foston, near Munich. In this workshop, they build custom-built luxury kitchens. Work for a current order is in the final phase. Here, the last of the drawer inserts are being manufactured. Every insert, every cutlery tray is handmade according to the customer's specification. Like the drawers, the inserts are made from solid wood.
We attach great importance to the moving parts that are used on a daily basis, like drawer inserts, being manufactured to the highest of quality standards. We make them from solid wood, they're always specially manufactured.
This includes painting in the desired color. In this age of automation, many customers don't want to accept the run-of-the-mill, and they're prepared to spend a lot of money for something different. A custom-built kitchen can easily cost more than a sports car.
It's not about impressing friends with the great Holzrausch kitchen you have, but rather the pleasure it brings you personally. A car's a bit different. You drive it on the road and everyone sees you, so that's more about show, I'd say.
These fronts aren't laminated with melamine resin, rather real wood veneer. Oak and walnut are popular with customers. Before application, the sheets are first trimmed. The wood is still delicate and can tear. Once pressed onto a substrate, however, it becomes a robust surface that feels pleasant to the touch.
You want to be able to tell that it's wood when you feel it and not some substitute. It's a millimeter thick, but it's pretty robust.
The veneer is glued and pressed onto the substrate. A number of such slatted panels are being made for the current open-plan kitchen. They're used to cover a room divider and conceal the air conditioning system. The slats are made from solid walnut and are bonded to a backing board.
As you can see, there's a groove here, and this makes the connection to the backing board. We glue it into the groove and then glue it onto the counter part on the backing board. Then they're pressed together with the machine.
Some of the fronts for the luxury kitchen are covered with linoleum. It's robust and ideally suited for units that see a lot of use. In order to compensate for tension in the wood, both sides of the fronts are covered. Doing so later prevents warping.
Linoleum is very interesting because of its unbeatable haptic properties. It feels warm and soft to the touch, and is nevertheless a solid surface.
And it doesn't leave any fingerprints on fronts with no handles. Back at one of Germany's largest kitchen manufacturers. This production line makes the connecting element of every kitchen, the countertop. It's cut from 5.5 meter long laminated particle board blanks. This plant is simply called the processing center. Here, the robot is a kind of surgeon that automatically cuts the blank to the desired shape. The machine operator is just there to monitor and check. The surgeon is assisted by two automatic tool changers that hand him the required instruments. He uses them to work the board into the desired shape. If two sections have to be connected at a corner, the machine mills out the tongue or groove too. A preview shows the machine operator which cuts have to be sealed. Now and then, he loads the machine with the matching melamine edging material. The seal also acts as a vapor barrier against steam that can be released when opening a dishwasher, for example. It prevents moisture from entering and causing the board to swell. At the end, the machine operator checks the boards for cracks or scratches and smooths the edges. Then the countertops are packaged before heading to the temporary warehouse until being dispatched. All of the units from the various assembly lines end up on the same conveyor belt. Their destination is the logistics center, a kind of shunting yard for kitchen cabinets. Everything follows an invisible and fully automated plan. The journey for each unit ends at one of the many truck loading bays. This is where all the components that make up a kitchen come together for the first time. Countertop, electrical appliances and accessories such as handles and fittings, in addition to the cabinets. Although all the parts come from different production lines or suppliers, after roughly 5 hours, every kitchen is complete and waiting at the correct terminal. Around 15 kitchens fit in a truck. Loading is done according to the last in, first out principle. From here, the kitchens first go to the dispatch warehouses of kitchen studios and furniture stores. From there, they're collected by freight forwarders or kitchen installers, who fit them for the customers. Beverstedt, near Bremerhaven. The kitchen installers Florian Köster and Nils Getjen are nearly finished with today's installation. It's now time for the new refrigerator. The cable must be made accessible before installation. Otherwise, they won't be able to get to it later and the refrigerator will have no power. The customer has kept her old appliance. There are now 2 refrigerators in the new kitchen. Now the other appliances will be installed. The new oven isn't yet connected, but the lady of the house is already looking forward to it with eager anticipation.
I can just imagine a nice roast in there.
Time to connect the oven. Always a tricky moment for the kitchen installers.
Most customers don't know that there are 3 fuses. Usually only one is disconnected.
For this reason, the kitchen installers prefer to rely on their multimeter. The stove uses high voltage current. Anyone accidentally touching a live cable risks electrocution.
It tingles a bit more.
The customer is getting a tingly sensation too. The new kitchen is almost finished. The moment of truth has also arrived in the new penthouse in Munich. After 16 months of planning and construction, company boss Tobias Petri takes a first look at the new luxury open-plan kitchen. The central element is a wood-paneled room divider with walnut fronts. It serves several purposes. An enormous flat-screen TV will later be hidden behind this door. When the doors are opened, they slide inwards. This allows them to disappear out of sight.
This needs to be adjusted a bit. It's a bit stiff and sticks a little. The alignment isn't quite right either.
The carpenters will have to rework this part. The cabinet next to it will later house the air conditioning system. The wooden slats allow cool air to escape and warm air to be drawn in. The fireplace underneath works with gas. It will later be lit by remote control rather than a lighter. But at the moment, there is no gas in the apartment.
People choose gas when they want a fire, but don't want the dirt, dust and smell that comes with wood. It's for city cowboys.
Behind the multi-function cube is the kitchenette. The countertop is made from stone and folds down the front. The drawers are made from solid walnut. Everything here is perfect. Well, almost everything.
How's it looking? Have we already got the inserts? An insert still needs to go here.
The custom-made solid wood inserts will later hold the cooking utensils and table cutlery. All of the drawers are dovetailed for increased stability. Kitchen appliances can be stored behind this flap. This keeps the countertop tidy and uncluttered. The stone slab extends into the cupboard when the door is open, thereby extending the work surface.
Okay, it's still sticking a bit. We still have to adjust it.
Many useful features only become apparent at second glance, such as the hidden sockets for kitchen appliances.
In our experience, things like this always go over well, especially in large open-plan kitchens like this.
The customers haven't just chosen high-end when it comes to cabinets. The same goes for the appliances. This new extractor sucks cooking fumes downward before they can disperse into the room.
Is it already connected?
Yeah, it's already connected.
It's lowering. The fan is running.
The air is cleaned, filtered, and returned, so no smells are produced. The fronts are made from a special linoleum that doesn't show any fingerprints. The refrigeration system consists of 2 XXL appliances with many extras and special air filtering. Cost around 25,000 euros. Somewhat hidden away is a second kitchen, the Backstage Kitchen. People can work here without anyone noticing.
If you've got dirty dishes or want to prepare something and have guests, you might want to do it here. Or maybe the staff can work here out of sight.
Also hidden back here, a wine refrigerator for expensive Grand Cru wines. A few corrections and the customer can move into his new open-plan kitchen living room. But most people can't afford custom work like this.
The sky's the limit. We make a lot between 80 and 200,000. Something like this here is pretty complex, definitely in the premium segment. 6 figures, of course.
Understated elegance, custom built, luxurious and expensive. And almost too good to cook in. In Beverstedt near Bremerhaven, the kitchen installation is in the final stages. The L-shaped kitchen cost around 10,000 euros, including fitting. After 10 hours of installation work, they're finished. But is everything the way the customer wanted it?
Mrs. Stelius?
Yes?
Your kitchen is finished.
Great.
From placing the order to production and installation in 2.5 months. And this is the result.
Fantastic. Really cool.
The new kitchen should last for at least 15 years. Because statistically, that's how long it will be until the next fitted kitchen is due.